In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to sew this double-breasted blazer from start to finish. In the last tutorial, I showed you how to draft the blazer pattern. So if you've not seen them, please go ahead to watch it. Now let's get started. So for this, you'll be needing your fabric. I used about 4 yards of crepe. You'll be needing your interfacing, that's your hairstay. You'll also be needing your lining, your suit lining, and then I used some wadding for the shoulder pad. Now you'll be needing your pattern, which you've already drafted in the last video. So I went ahead to fold this fabric in two, right sides facing each other, and I also marked the back so that we can be able to differentiate it because of how crepe is. Now the next thing I did is to go ahead and pin down my pattern on the fabric. Okay, this is the front pattern. I pinned it down, and then I'm going to be extending this pattern by 1 inch. This is for my allowance at the bottom. Yeah, I do not want this I don't want the lining to show when I'm done joining, so I went ahead to come down by 1 inch. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to cut it out with that 1 inch allowance at the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead to fold it up like this. This is because I'm going to be using it to turn the lining, so I'm going to fold it up and I'll go ahead to pin it down. This is to ensure that when we fold it in with the lining, we're not going to have any shortage. Okay, please pay attention. After folding, I went ahead to cut it with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance or 3/4 inch, whichever one you feel better with. So go ahead and cut it, and then at the side I'm not going to be adding any allowance. This is because we already added the allowance to the pattern paper. Now at the armhole, I'm going to go in and cut it with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance. At the armhole I used 1/4 inch, at the shoulder I used 1/2 inch, and on the neckline I'm also using about 1/2 inch. So now I also went ahead to pin down the back side and cut it as well, just like we did for the front pieces. Cut with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance at the sides. Then at the side back, I'm not going to be leaving an allowance. Please pay attention to what I'm doing here. I know this is very fast, but this tutorial is too long, so I'm trying to shorten it. So go ahead and cut. Now we're going to be leaving about 1/2 inch stitching allowance on the side, and for the center back we're also going to be leaving about 1/2 inch stitching allowance. Now this is what we have after cutting. This is the back pieces. Okay, and remember we cut on fold. Now I'm going to go ahead to use what I have to cut the lining. Notice that for the lining there is no fold at the bottom. This is because I do not want the lining to be equal with the main fabric. I want to turn it over so that the lining is not going to show. Okay, we don't want it dragging space with the main fabric. I hope you understand. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the sides. Trace out whatever you have on the pattern. Now after cutting it, this is what we have. I'm going to be marking the back pieces of the lining. This is so we can differentiate because they look very much alike. Now to cut the lining for the front pieces, we are going to be dividing this into two. Okay, mark it at the center of the shoulder. Okay, go ahead and mark it up and mark down. This is because of the lapel. The lapel is supposed to have the main fabric, so we'll be cutting the part that has the lapel with the main fabric, and we'll be cutting the side of the front with the lining. I hope we understand. Okay, so the side front is going to be cut with the lining like you see me do here. Go ahead and pin it down, and after pinning it down you can go ahead to cut it with the lining. We're using the lining for the side front. Okay, please pay attention to what I'm doing here. As you can see, I also left about 1/4 inch at the armhole, and I didn't leave any for the side front. This is because of the allowance we added previously. Now go ahead and cut this part with about 1/2 inch. Now for the center front, we are going to go ahead and cut it with our main fabric. You can see what I was talking about before now. Go ahead and pin it down, and after pinning it down, you can cut it. Now cut it with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance at the shoulder, 1/2 inch at the side. Okay, go ahead and cut it. This is for the lapel. Remember, this is a lining. This is the lining for the center front. So that's why we are not leaving any allowance at the bottom. This is the lining, remember. So now after cutting it out, we're going to go ahead and fold our fabric. Okay, fold it once and go ahead and fold it again. Please pay attention to what I'm doing here. Now after folding, we're going to go ahead and place our collar pieces at the closed part. Okay, go ahead and place your collar like this. I just labeled this so we know the side that is going towards the neck. Go ahead and cut it with about 1/2 inch allowance all round. Now after cutting it, you can see what we have. This is what we have. Now I went ahead to notch the parts that will be sitting at the collar, the notched collar. Okay, go ahead and notch yours, and after that, notch the middle of the collar on both ends. Notch the middle of the collar. After notching, I went ahead to draw an arrow indicating the parts that will be going to the neck of the blazers. Now for the center front, we are going to be doing a dart transfer. This is simply transferring the darts that we drafted on the pattern paper to the main fabric, because for the front, remember, there is no splits in between. Okay, so go ahead and use a pin and pin it on the waist part where the dart was. You can do this before splitting the front lapel part. Please do this before splitting. But for me, I can still remember where my dart is, so I'm going to be using an office pin to place it where our darts are, the points where our darts are. Okay, so go ahead and pin it down. Now after pinning it down, I went ahead to flip it over, and this is the point where the dart is. Okay, remember the darts we had at the pattern paper. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead to extend the midpoint of the dart. Remember our dart is 1 inch rather. So go ahead to mark 1 inch from the other point, and now we are going to connect our darts. Please, this is simply what we did while drawing the pattern. Okay, so you can go ahead and do yours before you split the front pattern. Now I'm going to be using a scissors to transfer this point to the other part. Remember that this fabric is cut on fold. Okay, so please do not poke it, just enough to give it those points. You can also go ahead to use your office pin to indicate these 4 points. Okay, but I decided to use the scissors. That's because I know how to use it. You can use your office pin to make these points. After doing that, go ahead and flip it over. You're going to notice the points that we marked. Okay, the points we poked with the scissors, you're going to notice it. Please use a pin if you're a beginner so you don't end up tearing your fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the dart legs. Okay, just what we did in the front, we are transferring it to the back instead of coming to start measuring at the back again. Please pay attention to this part. Now after doing that, you can see what we have. So this is what we have as our darts. Now when we want to stitch it down, we're going to fold it like this, and we're going to stitch on that line. Okay, go ahead, place it like this and sew it down with your sewing machine. Okay, after doing that, we're going to go ahead and arrange our back pieces. Okay, arrange the lining like so, and then we'll go ahead to stitch it down together. Please make sure you align it perfectly like you see me do in the video. Now go ahead to place them on each other and stitch it down. Stitch it down. Please, when you're stitching, make sure that the right sides are facing each other. Right sides facing each other. Then you stitch it all the way to the top. Go ahead and align all the lining pieces. Now for the side front for the lining, we're also going to go ahead and mark the back pieces. This is for us to know the back from the front. Okay, go ahead and make a mark at the back pieces. Now after doing that, you want to go ahead and arrange this. Okay, arrange the side front and the center front. Okay, you can see that the center front is made from the main fabric, so go ahead and align it together, and also make sure you mark out the back pieces from the front. After doing that, we're going to go ahead to arrange them perfectly. Stitch this down, and we'll also be starting from the bottom all the way to the top. Now, before we stitch it down, we're going to be ironing our interfacing on it. So go ahead and arrange the back pieces of the main fabric. Okay, the back pieces of the main fabric, we're going to, for your interfacing, look at the side that is rough. The rough side is what we are going to place on the fabric. Okay, remember to place it at the back pieces, like the pieces that will be inside. Okay, your main fabric, the back pieces. Now go ahead to iron it. You don't need a gum for it, you just need your iron to be hot. Okay, now give it a press like this. It's going to stick to the main fabric. Now for the front, I went ahead to stitch down the dart for the front pieces. Okay, this is the main fabric. Now I also went ahead to iron it out. Go ahead and iron it out. This is because we want it to be flat. Okay, I also went ahead to trim off the darts. This is because I want it to be very flat. Now go ahead and iron it out like you see me doing. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and also give it a good press. Please, if you're making suits or any other dress, especially suits, you need your iron. Okay, so after doing that, you can see what we have. This is way flatter than what we had before. I'm also going to go ahead and iron our interfacing on it. Remember the rough side of the interfacing on the back, the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, so now after doing that, this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and also give it a good press. Now for the lining pieces for the back, I've gone ahead to join the two side pieces. Okay, this is for the back. I've gone ahead to join it, and I went ahead to also make notches with my scissors around it. Be careful not to cut the seam open. Okay, so after doing that, now I'm going to align the back pieces of the main fabric. This is what it looks like with the interfacing ironed on it. Now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch it all the way from the bottom to the top. Okay, so we're going to align the entire back pieces together. Now this is the lining piece. I've gone ahead to assemble it. You can see what we have, and I also went ahead to press it. Make sure you always give it a good press. Okay, now for the lining for the front pieces, I went ahead to attach hairstay to the front. Okay, that's to the lapel side of it, and I'm also going to go ahead and take it to the sewing machine and stitch it down together. Now on the sewing machine, I'm going to be stitching it down with about half of an inch seam allowance. That is what we left while cutting. Please make sure you sew from the bottom. Now when you get to this point, you want to be very careful. Go ahead and align it like this. Please do not pull on the fabric. Just make sure to align the pieces okay, and then go ahead to stitch it down with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance. Please go ahead and make notches all around. Please be careful with this part so that you don't cut the seam open. Okay, go ahead and make notches all around. Now after doing that, we're going to take it to the ironing board, or rather floor for me, and iron it out. Go ahead and iron it out so it will lay flat. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead, take this to the sewing machine and stitch down the lining pieces all the way around. Okay, stitch it down together. We're also going to go ahead and do the same thing for the main fabric. Go ahead and stitch it down together. Now after doing that, you can see what we have here. I've gone ahead to stitch down the lining piece and the front piece. You can see that I left a hole there at the lining piece. This is to enable us to turn it out after sewing it together. Now after doing that, I went ahead to flip it over to the back side, the wrong side. You can see I already stitched down the shoulders. Okay, so stitch it down as well. Now we're going to be turning it right side up. Okay, this is because we want to go ahead and join the lining piece to the main fabric. So we are going to be starting from the bottom. Go ahead and align the center of the back to the center of the main fabric. Okay, the center back of the lining piece to the center back of the main fabric, and we are going to go ahead and stitch it. So after stitching down, we'll now go ahead to align it and stitch down the sides as well. Now take it to the sewing machine. You want to go ahead and fold it. So remember that the main fabric is 1 inch longer than the lining piece at the bottom. So you want to make sure that the top of the fabric is aligned properly like you see here before stitching it down from the bottom. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to take our wording. Please, if you don't know it, if you go to the markets, just tell them you want to get wording and they are going to show you. So go ahead and fold the wording. Okay, so after folding it, just like the other parts, the wording has a shiny piece. One part of the wording is shiny, and the shiny piece is the part that sticks to the fabric when you iron it out. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut a circle. Okay, so I'll be using 6 inches. Okay, so go ahead and cut out a circle all the way around. Now after cutting it out, this is what we have. We're going to be using this for our shoulder pad. Okay, but if you have foam, please go ahead and use it, but I'll be using wooden for this. So you can see what we have here is a full circle. We're going to fold it in two like this, and this will be our shoulder pad for one of the sleeve. Now I went ahead to place it on my shoulder line and I found that it's too long, so I'm going to be reducing the length of it. Okay, so I'm going to be going with about 4.5 inches, just like we did the first time, and I'm going to cut it out. Now for the collar, I also went ahead to iron out the hairstay on the collar, okay, the wrong side of the fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this part of the collar. Okay, after that we're going to go ahead to align the collar to the main dress, okay, which is the blazer. Remember the part we notched before? This is for our notched lapel. I'm going to go ahead from that point to stitch it down. Okay, make sure that you align the center of the collar to the center of your blazer, the center back of your blazer. Okay, go ahead and look at what I'm doing here. Please pay attention to this part, it's very important. Now on the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this part of the collar. Okay, you want to start from the center front, align properly the center of the collar, go ahead and stitch it down, flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. That I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this part, stitch a straight line down on this side, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Now after stitching it down, this is what we have. This is what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and attach it to the main fabric. Okay, please pay attention to these parts. You're going to go ahead and attach the center of the notched collar to the center of your back. Okay, attach it to the neck area, the center of the neck. Go ahead and attach it like this. Please make use of your pins in this part. Make use of your pins very well, you'll be needing it. Okay, go ahead and pin it down all the way around. Now after doing that, you want to go ahead and also attach the lining to the main fabric. Okay, align the center of the lining to the center of the collar, just like we did for the front. We're going to go ahead and align these together all the way around. If you can do it together, go ahead and do it, but I had to take it one step at a time just so that we understand what I'm doing. Then after doing that, we're going to go ahead and sew a straight line all the way around. Okay, now after doing that, you're going to take it to the sewing machine, and from the center of the collar we're going to be stitching all the way down. Stitch it with about 1/2 inch stitching allowance. Okay, please pay attention to what I'm doing. If you follow this process, you'll get it exactly the way mine is. Okay, after stitching the collar, this is what we have. You can see what it looks like from the inside and the outside. You see how neat this thing is. You see how neat our blazer is. It's coming together. Now you want to go ahead and give it a very good press. So after doing that, we're going to be attaching our shoulder pad. Okay, you want to go ahead and attach the center of the shoulder pad to the center of the shoulder. Okay, so align it like this. The straight part is going to the part with the sleeve, while the curved part is going to the part of the collar. I hope we understand. Please pay attention carefully. We're going to attach it like this all the way. Went ahead to trim out the excess. Okay, trim it out all around. After trimming it, I went ahead to attach a gum stay. Yeah, your cloth gum. I went ahead to attach it to the hem. That's to the bottom of this blazer. This is because I want it to be flat after ironing. Okay, now we're going to go ahead to iron everything out. Now after doing that, I went ahead to attach the sleeve. I'll be dropping the sleeve tutorial, how to draft a two-piece suit, in my next tutorial. It's going to be dropping on Wednesday, so if you don't know how to draft that, you'll be needing that tutorial. Okay, so now go ahead and attach your sleeve. This is not like your regular sleeve, but you can also use a regular sleeve pattern. So now I'm going to attaching the bottom piece to the bottom of the sleeve, and we'll go ahead and stitch it down all around. Okay, so I also added our wording to the top of the sleeve. This is because I want the sleeve to be standing, to give us that standing effect. Go ahead and stitch it all around. Now I'm going to go ahead and also attach the sleeve of the lining to the lining piece. Okay, attach the sleeve of the main fabric to the main fabric and the sleeve of the lining to the lining piece. Now after doing that, this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good press. Please, I would advise that if you're ironing, use a steam iron, or if you don't have a steam iron, please go ahead and sprinkle water on the fabric and you can use your dry iron to press it. Now because this is a suit, it will be reversible. The sleeve will be reversible. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to pin the front side of the sleeve to the front side of the main fabric. Okay, bring your sleeve out through the hole that we left, and then we are going to attach the front side of the sleeve of the lining piece to the main fabric, the front side of the main fabric. Okay, then you go ahead and sew it all around. After stitching it, this is what you have. It's supposed to look something like this. Okay, as you can see, the back of the sleeve is showing. So you are going to put your hand in through the armhole. It should give you something like this. Okay, your hand is supposed to pass over to the main fabric. Okay, then when you draw it out, this is what you're going to have. So go ahead and insert your hand inside. If it is normal, you know that you did it well, but if not, you will have to redo it. So this is what we have. I hope you understand at least. This is what we have after sewing it. This is a reversible jacket. We want it to be very neat. You can see how neat this jacket is, both for the front and the back piece. This is how you want yours to be. So go ahead and flip it over. Make sure that everything is aligned correctly, and then you can go ahead and iron it out. Okay, now you can see how neat everything turned out. We are going to go ahead and make a straight stitch across the hole that we left open. And this is the finished double-breasted blazer. Now you can go ahead and attach your buttons. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like the video, share and subscribe for more sewing tutorials. I'll be dropping the sleeve pattern drafting and sewing tutorial in my next video. And if you're making this blazer yourself, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.